then I'll do an introduction, and we're live, just like, and we never know when Aaron's going to push the go button. So, hey, folks, welcome to SVT time. It is Tuesday, another Tuesday. SVT time, 2 p.m. Dom, this is episode 80. 80.
We just did 8.
Wow. 80.
Wow.
And for everybody that's joining us, in the comments, of course, we have Paul and Ray Chu, our steadfast viewers.
Yeah.
Man, today we have a very special guest, Lee Hendricks. I know this has been in the works for a while now, so man, thank you for joining us. This is fantastic. We finally get to actually have a chat.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. Glad we finally got it all work out. So
and I tell people, like, typically when we see each other, or when we visit with artists and players, it's either backstage at a gig where it's just complete mayhem, like nobody really has time to like chat,
right? Yeah.
Or at a trade show, and again, nobody has time to chat. So this is what this is all about, just being able to catch up.
Yeah, that's I see friends all over the country when I'm touring, but it's for 10 minutes here and 5 minutes before the show, and it's like I gotta go to work now.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good to be able to keep close with friends, that you haven't seen in 30, 40 years or whatever. And,
right.
You get so scattered, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be my 40th year out of high school. So it's crazy to think that,
Yeah.
Hey, you and I graduated the same year then.
85.
Yeah. All right.
Our motto was, what was it? Don't take no shit. Don't take no jive. We're the class of 85.
I don't even know what our motto was. I think it was something like, we're just glad to get out alive. Oh man. But yeah, I was thinking, Lee, like I was looking back at Eric's tour dates, and see, Dom, I didn't say tour dates. I said tour dates.
You're getting good, man.
I'm getting better. Last time you guys were in New Hampshire was 2021.
Wow.
And it just literally, it seems like it was like a year or so ago, but yeah, it was 2021, December of 2021. So 3 years ago.
We haven't toured a lot since then. We did this past year, we only did like 15 festival shows.
Yeah.
And the year before that, we did a amphitheater tour. So
yeah,
that was hot.
I think I saw you guys on that tour.
Yeah.
Did you see him on that tour, Dom?
I think so, in LA, I want to say.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's good though. It was
awesome.
And then we're off again now till probably the fall. We'll do they're talking about doing a tour in the fall. So an arena tour back to the arenas, to controlled environment. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
what's your preference on like type of tour? Is it arena? Is it amphitheater?
I like arenas. Just because they're consistent, and you're indoors, everything's controlled, and outdoor. I mean, outdoors fun, but you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I hate it for our crew guys, because it makes double the work on them sometimes if it's raining and all that.
Yeah,
just trying to keep everything in tune.
From what I saw, it definitely feels like the set list is worthy of an arena, and is like that's the best format for it. I mean, it's big and rocking, and it's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah. I have to say, like, over the years, I've, obviously I was Eric Church fan, but over the years, like the last couple of years, man, and you're gonna laugh, but Eric is my playlist when I'm in the last part of my gym workout, like and into the tanning bed. That's listen to Church on. So I've got some questions regarding recording with a 5-string that. But I gotta say, there's nothing like when the conditions are pristine and it's a nice summer night, not a cloud in the sky. You know, an amphitheater is always
that's
the
great.
place. But how often do you get that?
I know they're few and far between. It seems like.
So, yeah. So Lee, let's talk a little bit about your early years. So you were born and raised in West Virginia.
Yep.
Did you start off as a bass player, or what got you into music?
I always loved music. When I was just a kid, I knew something drove me to music. You know, like when I first saw my first Kiss record, you know, I was like, "Dad, look at this. What is this?" You know, and then I saw, you know, Don Kirshner's rock concert. You know, I was like, "Wow, you know, these guys are cool." All the musicians, any musician, I thought was cool.
Yep.
And so it took me a few years though, and then I learned to start playing guitar, as you do in high school. You either play drums or guitar. You know, nobody plays bass and means to play bass, their first instrument, it seems like.
Right.
Especially back then. So I played guitar for a year or so, and then some buddies of mine had a band in high school, and they had two guitar players, and they said, "Hey, we have a bass. You can be in the band if you come play bass." And that's a lot of bass player stories, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's kind of that way. So that's what got me into it, and then and I just fell in love with bass after that. I never turned back, you know. And,
right on. Yeah.
And I grew up, you know, mostly on AC/DC and Skinner, you know, just straight ahead stuff like that. And my first song I ever learned to play was Live Wire by AC/DC.
Nice.
So that and Shock Me, Kiss, and Riding the Storm Out by REO Speedwagon. We used to jam on that for hours.
Oh, yeah.
So I floundered around for a while, learning to play, you know, getting little lessons off my buddies, and then graduated high school, went to Florida for a little while, and saw this guy playing bass, and he was playing Steely Dan. And I was like, "Holy crap, look at that," you know. And so I talked to him, and he actually gave lessons. So I took a couple lessons from him, and that really turned me around to really learn about music, not just play along, you know, learn why you're playing those notes and where to go from there. And so then I came back to West Virginia and went to college for a couple of years here and studied music.
Okay.
Thought I wanted to be a music education teacher. And I kind of did for a while till we had some combo bands in college, and we decided to put together a little pop band on the side, and we started getting gigs, and it's like, all right, let's go. I got a van. Come on. And we started playing the East Coast and hotels. You know, you go play for a week at a Holiday Inn, that kind of thing. And it was great. You know, they put you up, you know.
Sure.
And so I kind of dropped out of college but I learned so much in college because I just took that time and practiced like 12, 15 hours a day, every day, you know, just go in one of those practice rooms and just play and play and play and play.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's the only way you can do it. You know, I mean, you just have to put the time in. You know, a lot of people, you know, a lot of people are on that mindset nowadays of, you know, like America's Got Talent or that kind of stuff. You know, they think it's just instant, you know, and it's not. You know. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I was like, man, I'm just becoming an alcoholic, you know, and, you know, I need to do something. So that's when I had one buddy in Nashville, and I called him up and said, hey, man, can I come down? And he said, sure, come crash on my couch. And so I went down and checked it out and moved down, and that was 91.
Okay.
And got a funny story. Like the first week I actually moved there, you know, I thought I was all hot shit. You know, here I come. Here, watch out, Nashville. Get out of my way, you know. So I said, man, where'd I go to? This is before social media, you know. I mean, it's just all newspaper stuff, you know. And there's a magazine in Nashville called The Scene, and and it listed all the clubs and who's playing. And he goes, man, go to this place. He goes, you'll there's always a good band playing here. So I was like, all right. So I walk in, the band's on break, and I ordered a beer, and I'm standing there at the bar, and I'm thinking, yeah, it's gonna be great, and I'll be playing here soon. And the band gets up, starts playing, and the bass player, I didn't know at the time, was Victor Wooten. And he's sitting there with the Wooten brothers. And I'm just holding my beer like, holy shit. I'm so screwed. I'll never make this
funny.
out, So I went home, went back to my buddy's couch, and he's like, how'd it go? And I was like, I'm leaving. I can't play like that. And I told him the story, and he just started laughing. He goes, man, that guy's out of this world. He said, you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my first taste in Nashville. See Victor Wooten 10 feet away from me, and it's like, oh no.
And it's so funny because you never thought, like growing up, I knew Victor and Bella Fleck, but I never knew he was from Nashville.
Right.
I mean, he's the total antithesis of what you would think of a Nashville bass player.
Yeah.
That whole family is just incredible musicians. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. So, but after that, like I said before, social media, you just went to jam nights and meet players, and Broadway at that time is not nothing like what it is now. I don't know if y'all been there in the past 10 years.
It's insane.
Back then it was just a few bars here and there,
Yeah. Now it's Vegas.
It was just boarded up warehouses basically. And,
wow.
And it's great they've turned it around, But so you just went to jam nights and met some players and hope you got in a little circle, of 5 or 6 people, and then maybe you get in another little circle, and your circle gets bigger and bigger, and calls start coming in. So I started getting some gigs with some startup artists who would have a deal for a year, kind of thing, and go play a summer, and that's about it. And then go back to the temporary job, work in a warehouse in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And then I got a call from Brian White. He was a late 90s country artist.
Yeah.
He was doing really well at the time. And I went to go fill in on a gig, and turns out that they were wanting to make a change. And they asked me if I wanted to join. I was like, sure, So I joined that, and they were out on the Vince Gill tour at the time, opening up for Vince, which was just incredible. I mean, I learned so much from his bass player, Jimmy Johnson. That guy's just super nice. And I always played with his thumb, the old school kind of.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool, just such a good, cool, thuddy sound, but great guys. And I actually got to fill in for Jimmy for a weekend. His daughter was getting married. So they asked me to fill in on Vince's gig. Right. And did double duty that weekend. So that was pretty cool.
Cool.
That's amazing.
And just stayed in touch, and that's how the Olivia Newton-John gig came along, because they had the same managers, and Olivia was looking for a new bass player, and so they remembered me from those days and called me up, and that's how it works.
Yeah,
it's your buddies, and there's no going anywhere, filling out application, for bass player.
Yeah.
So, and Olivia was great. She was, what a wonderful person. I miss her so much. She was just as sweet as she could be. I mean, really was.
I've heard that from a lot of mutual friends that knew Olivia, and she's smart as a whip too, business-wise, from what I understand.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
And that band was great. Andy Timmons was playing guitar in it.
Oh, wow.
And Dan Wojciechowski on drums. And, Dane Brown on keyboards, and a bunch of LA guys were in it, and girls. It was a great band. And we did that for, I guess I was in her band on and off about 4 years or so. And the McCain gig kind of came around, and I played with him, made a few records. And he's a great singer. That guy's incredible.
Yeah.
such a blue-eyed soul, you know. I mean, he's just great at it.
Yeah.
And then his gig was kind of falling apart, and I had a couple buddies on Eric's gig. Eric was just getting started. They called me one time earlier and asked if I want to come, you know, come out and check it out. And I was like, nah, I'm happy where I'm at. And then, you know, things change on gigs pretty quickly sometimes. And,
Sure.
so I was wanting to get off the Edwin thing, and I called them back up and said, hey, you guys still looking for a bass player? And they're like, yeah, actually we are. And so I said, all right. I said, I'll come out and, you know, I said, you want me to audition? And they're like, no, just we're going to send you the music. Just we're only doing 45 minutes, opening up for people.
Yep.
So just learn our board tape and come out for the weekend. That'll be your audition. Like, great.
Wow.
So, never talked to Eric at all. You know, never even met him.
Wow.
And just knew my two buddies. I knew the drummer and one of the guitar players. And just showed up, you know, and pretty much took gear off one bus and put it on another bus and went out for the weekend.
Yep.
And finally met Eric before we went on, you know, and it's like, hey man, nice to meet you. And, you know, let's have fun. And about 3 songs in, he turns around, he goes, comes up to me, he goes, you want the gig? Sure, man, you seem pretty fun. This is all right.
I love that.
So yeah, so that was it. You know,
That's awesome.
That was almost 19 years ago.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
But you know that it never amazes me hearing stories like that, because it is, number one, so organic,
Right.
but it's like, that's not to sound like a radio host, but that's how it's done, folks.
Yeah. That's great.
You know, that's how it's done.
That's how it's
Well, also, kudos to Lee for having enough of a reputation where they're like, yeah, let's just test them out on shows. It's not like
Right.
you know, that is how it's done. But anyone of less caliber, they wouldn't, you know, they'd be like, yeah, let's have an audition or a rehearsal or something. Yeah.
You obviously have to have the hang and the playing ability
right.
to get the gig. You know what I mean? But that's how you get
awesome.
those gigs. And man, it's I mean,
it's been a crazy ride, you know.
I was gonna say, now, what do you think you would be doing if you didn't go to Nashville and hang out on your buddy's couch?
I'd be a coal miner. I was right out of high school. I was taking coal mining classes in high school.
Okay.
And the year I graduated in '85, all the mines went on strike. So when I graduated school, there was no mine jobs, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So I worked in a grocery store around here for a while, and then went to Florida and worked there for a year or so, and then came back. And but you know, and the mines around here, you know, it's the biggest industry in this state, and
sure,
they're hit and miss nowadays, you know, because when I was growing up, it was all union mines, strong unions, you know.
Okay.
And then they went on strike that year, and they drained all their money supply, and the mines had to sell out to non-union mines. And
wow.
And then they would bring workers from out of state, you know, all that whole thing.
Yep.
But nowadays, I don't know if there might be a couple union mines left, but they're mostly all right to work places, you know.
Yeah.
But some of them are making a boom again, you know. It just depends, you know, how the whole energy thing is.
Yeah.
You know, some
people
want coal and some people don't. You know?
Yeah.
I know it seems like a constant. Growing up in a similar area, it just seems like it's always back and forth.
It's always back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. Depends on what everybody's energy agenda is.
Right.
Every 4 years or 8 years or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And there's, you know, I don't have the answer. I'm not that smart. You know? They'll figure something out, hopefully.
Yeah. Man.
You know, I was gonna say, in your journey through like what you just shared of, you know, childhood discovering bass and then getting into these bigger venues, and with bigger artists, like, was there like a did you ever have like an SVT moment or like a big rig moment where you first played through and you're just like, oh, this is it?
Yeah, I did. With, I guess actually with Brian, because at that time we were still on wedges. So that's before it was right around the time the ear monitors were making their move, everybody. I played through a buddy's SVT rig. He was a bass player from Charleston that went to Nashville and got in a band called the Screaming Cheetah Willies. And
great name.
Yeah, right.
Really cool name. Stevie Burgess. And I played through his rig one time. And I was like, holy shit, that's so great. Just to feel all that.
Yeah.
And I found one in the paper and went and got a rig. And
nice.
Pretty much, I played, can I say another brand name?
Of course. Yeah.
I played Mesa Boogies for a while.
Yeah.
And I could never capture that big SVT thing. It just, no matter what I did, it was like, okay, then who am I fooling? So, So I went back and for a while with Eric, I had two of the classic heads like you have back there, and two 810 cabinets, that whole thing, and then like I was telling Dino earlier, we went to a tour where we were in the round, and we were just eating up our sound man, because guitar players had cabinets and there was nowhere to put them except under the stage.
Yeah.
And they're just, you couldn't even get it in the PA, And so that's when we went to those Palmer direct injection rack units.
Mm-hmm.
And those things are incredible, but they won't handle an SVT head. So that's when it switched to the little 20-watt flip top heads.
Okay. Yeah.
And which sound great. I love those things. I mean, they're just incredible sounding. And
I'm going to share a picture here. Let me see if I can do this again. Yeah. So this is actually the picture that you sent me of your rack.
That's my rack. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Two PF20s and then the Palmers underneath. And then it looks like you've also got an SVP2 preamp.
I do. That was kind of my backup in case everything went to hell. I still had that going. Yeah. And then I've got a wireless or 4 wireless units. I like doing that because I like just switching basses and not switching my packs and dealing with chords and all that. So and then that way you can get unity gain on each one exactly.
Yeah.
A wireless on each bass kind of thing. So
and you don't, well, first of all, you've had, I remember you first started, I sent you a 20 and a 50 to try out the both. And then you came back saying, no, I like the 20 better. Yeah. Which I was like, if you're a B15 player, you're going to like the 20 better than the 50. Yeah. It's just a preference.
Yeah. It's got that, it's got that little sweet spot where it's starting to break up, but it's still kind of clean.
Yeah.
And with those Palmers, man, they really sound like paper. They really react like a cone. And,
And it's funny because for the gig, for an arena gig, you don't really need a cab on stage.
Right.
Unless you're standing directly in front of your cab all night long. But last time I saw you guys, you were in the round.
Yeah, we were in the round. Just moving like ants, so there's no standing in front of your cabinet,
Right.
Yeah.
And today's ear monitors are really, really good, So now I miss the, just that thump, definitely. But when we're back on a regular stage, I usually get a subwoofer behind me, so I get the end of my feet, can feel the bass through that way.
Yeah.
I would assume too in arenas that it's the thump is amazing, but it's so big that like you kind of lose that anyway.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I look forward to going back to just I don't think we'll ever play in the round again. It was just
Oh,
too much, Yeah. And I don't think the fans enjoyed it that much, because a quarter or three quarters of the time, Eric's over there, and his back's to, that kind of thing. And,
yeah.
And I could see a lot of people would be like, I'm sitting right here and he's all the way over there,
So, I got to look at the bass player all night.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I got to say, I did enjoy it. And I thought you guys outside of, fixed instruments, drummers and keys, because the stage wasn't rotating. You guys were walking around the stage.
Right, exactly.
And I thought you guys did a good job of covering the arena.
I did too. We really thought about, we didn't choreograph, but, it's like, man, when Eric's over there, we can't have four people standing over there, we got to spread out. And, and it was fun, and I think, and our front house guy did great with it, because that's a hard thing to do, to mix in the round, especially when he's on one end,
sure,
everything else around him. And, but it was good, but it would be nice to go back just to a more normal facing the audience kind of stage. And,
sure.
When you get into that, you said it was all organic in terms of the movement. Do you feel like, halfway through a tour, you guys kind of always feel the same?
Yeah.
So,
There's definitely
not assigned seats that are assigned seats.
Right. You'll see pictures. It's like, wow, that looks cool. Us standing right there, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
It's funny. I remember Rudy telling me, Rudy Sarzo, when he was on tour with Ozzy Osbourne, like Sharon would come out and say, nobody goes beyond Ozzy's, you know what I mean? Like, if Ozzy's upstage, you're downstage. If Ozzy's downstage, like, so, but obviously you get that impression with Eric that it's more of a bro type of environment, you know what I mean? Like, don't come near me, I'm on this side of the stage, sort of thing. But you do want to balance it out a little bit, I would imagine. That's funny, man. So and like I was saying, the PF20s in your ears to front of house. Actually, Harmony Kelly, Kenny Chesney's bass player, is using something similar. She's using the PF20 in an ISO box with a 15, and
cool.
And that's kind of like, if it sounds great in your ears and it sounds great in front of house,
I don't know.
That's it.
That's
it. I'm going to say it again. That's how we do it, folks.
People are there to hear it, not see me bitching about how it sounds, on stage or something.
Yeah.
They just want to have a good time, hear the music, and it be clear so they can understand everything. And that's all I want to. I want the fans to have a great experience, have a great mix. And and our front house guy now is different from the In the Round tour. He's really good. He's got good ears, and he was our monitor guy for a while, and then our front house guy retired, and so they kind of switched roles, and he stepped right into it, and he's doing a great job.
Cool.
You ever have a moment where the in-ears drop or something? You're kind of in no man's land if you don't have an amp?
Yeah, that's a weird feeling when that happens. It's like, oh God.
Just
yeah. But they're really good. Our crew is one of the best, I think. They're great guys.
And it's a tight crew. Like, it's a crew that's been together for quite a while now, even through COVID.
Yeah. Some way before that,
Yeah.
And it's been nice. We've been able to kind of hand pick our guys, and I think that helps, hey, I know this guy, same kind of thing, as how I got into gigs.
Yeah.
Hey, I know this guy, he's a great hang, because that's a big part of it, is just the hang. It's, yes, you have to be able to do your job, but you got to be able to, be a decent person and know how to live on a bus with 8 other people,
Yeah.
or 12 other people, how many ever's on your bus,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Man. No, it's very true. Like you said, you're making music for 2 hours out of the day,
right.
and you're living with everybody for 22 hours out of the
That's
day.
right. You get to know them more than your family, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
especially after 18 years.
Man.
So
Listening to these recordings, some of the Eric Church stuff, you played on pretty much right from the get-go. You were on a lot of those albums. And
I wasn't on the first one.
Yeah.
He'd already made that before I came on, but
Yeah.
after that I've been on everything.
Okay.
So, and Jay Joy's producing.
Yeah.
In the early days, we used my 65 B18 a lot.
Oh, nice.
That
Okay.
And, a lot of those tracks are they're just pure distortion. It sounds like, It's really cool though.
Yeah.
Jay was definitely, and still is. He's always looking for something different, and he wants that out of you. He doesn't want what you just played on another session 2 days ago. He wants something different, and
Yeah.
so we had a lot of fun making those records. I liked it when he had a studio in his basement at a house in West Nashville, and when I joined, and it was great. It was just 7-foot ceilings, a typical basement. And he built a wall with sliding glass doors for the drums and one for the acoustic guitar, and that kind of thing. And it was just raw but he had it so dialed in where he'd worked there so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he bought this church in East Nashville and turned that into a studio.
Okay.
And that's where we recorded The Outsiders.
Oh, okay.
They were still finishing the place when we were recording. And that was the first thing we recorded was The Outsiders, that song.
Okay.
And
speaking of distortion, that's one song that comes to mind, like the breakdown on the bass part. That's all distortion.
Yeah.
Do you remember what basses you used on those recordings, Lee? Was it you use a bunch?
Quite a bit. A lot of it was a Sadowski PJ4.
Okay.
In NYC, and through my 810 cabinet SVT head, which was down in the basement, so we could just turn it wide ass open, and it wouldn't bleed anywhere. In the church.
Yeah,
so that's
cool.
Fun.
Yeah. So that's how we got a lot of that distortion, was that way, just pure amp distortion, just cranking it up till it just broke up. And
right on. So it wasn't any studio, like it wasn't fuzz boxes or anything. That was just the amp wide open.
Yeah, it was just amp wide open.
Nice.
And other times it's just been an array. I'm always switching pedals in and out. So I was never a big pedal guy till I really kind of got around Jay and just kind of saw what he would do with stuff, and it's like, I'd like to put apply that to the bass side of things, But it's nothing like the guy from Tool, and that guy's the master of all that. So
yeah.
Mostly live now. Do you have a pretty extensive pedal situation in front of you, or
it's pretty good size? I probably have I would say 7 or 8 pedals.
Yep.
And I like using those little switchers they make now. That way you're not too pedal jockeying too much. You kind of keep it right there and pop them in and out real quick. And I still use a Boss octave pedal, like what Pino always used, those little OC2s. I got a couple of the old ones, and those are hard to find nowadays.
They are.
And those work great. And several different distortion pedals. And,
Okay.
I've been using a whammy pedal for a while too. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, I do a couple of little dive bomb kind of things.
Yeah,
you know,
that's cool.
These are kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you about that too, because I obviously some of the tunes call for a low B, but you're primarily a 4-string player. So
I am. Although I did early on with Eric, I played 5-string a lot. And then
okay.
I just kind of got away from it. We moved a lot of things to the key of C, and the guitar players were dropping C.
Wow.
So I took a bass and had it set up, higher action with heavier strings, and dropped it to drop C. So I was like, wow, this is fun playing 4-string like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Play all the open stuff, open strings, and do the pull-offs and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where you can't do that playing a 5-string.
Right.
And not get the same sound.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
So yeah, nowadays it's mostly all 4 strings.
Okay.
If I'm recording, I always have a 5-string with me just in case. And my 5-string, it's been through hell and back. It's a NYC PJ5. I love PJ5 setups or PJ setups.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love jazz basses. They're the sexiest looking bass they are, but they just don't have that P bass sound that I love so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, a PJ setup gives me both worlds.
Yep.
And I always roll off more of the bridge pickup, so it's mainly the front pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my PJ5 years ago in Nashville, I don't know how long now. It's been 15 years ago probably. There was a huge flood.
Yep.
And I had all my gear in a warehouse called Soundcheck, and it was over by the river, and just got destroyed. And my PJ5 was in there. So I sent it back to Roger. And when I pulled it out of my gig bag, this is no lie, the fretboard had lifted off the neck from down on the body to about the 12th fret. It was just up in the air,
Yeah.
So that's, and it was just waterlogged. So I sent it to Roger, and he kept it for about a year and dried it out and got it running again. He put new electronics in it.
Yeah.
The other ones were shot. But it plays great. His basses they're indestructible.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are. I love his basses. And
really cool.
And on the road, they really hold up well. Like my tech always says, man, you go through after they load up, the trucks go, and it could be freezing ass cold, come back the next day. And he says, your basses are always in tune. Every day when I take them out of the case, they're always in tune. He goes, I fine tune them a little bit. He goes, but they never move.
That's awesome. That's great.
So he just makes great instruments.
Yeah. Always has. Always has.
He
And
really has.
He's always been kind of a spokesman for instrument building.
Mm-hmm. He's really good about knowing how to pick woods that go well together.
Yeah.
I think that's his magic.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, when your basses, when you're on tour with Eric, are they transported in a trunk, or does each one get put back into its individual case? Or
I've got a stand-up vault that they all go in. So they just put a lid on it, and away it goes.
Which makes it that's even more tougher on an instrument to be transported that way.
Wide open inside.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
It's good cases, you have to definitely don't cheap out on your road cases, and I would love to take vintage instruments on the road, but I'm just not going to do it. It's just not worth it,
Yeah.
And people could steal it, or and just things happen.
Yeah.
I've seen my tech walking up steps to bring me a bass and trip and just pow, just gouge the bass out, you know. And it just
yeah. You know,
but if it's your road workhorse, it's great. Do it again. Put another one.
Get a little bit relic going on.
You know, some vintage P bass, you know, I mean, it'd be terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think, like, I just recently got into, you know, looking at, not necessarily buying. Dom's going to laugh at me for this one, but you know, I just bought a 71 P bass. I haven't owned a P bass in probably 20 years. You know, I mean, I've got a couple of Lakeland P basses. I actually bought a P bass from Dave Rowe a long time ago, and but you know, a Fender Road one, not an actual vintage P.
Right.
And you know, in a 71, it's not. I wouldn't call it well, now it's vintage, but I wouldn't. But it's not like a 59 P or a 62 Jazz or anything like that. You know. But yeah, it's like, you know, this stuff, those instruments, there's only a finite amount of those instruments on the market. And when they're gone, they're gone. Whereas, you know, a Sadowski, you know, I'm sure there's basses that you absolutely love, but you can always, like what happened with the bass at Soundcheck, Roger's always, I'm sure he'll retire at some point, so I don't want to say he'll always be there, but you know what I mean? You can always call Roger and say, "Hey dude, can you fix this for me?" And
make it up just like this, and he can, you know.
Yeah. I get a kick out of guys that, you know, there are still guys out there touring with their vintage pieces. I mean, Sting eventually had a copy of his what was it?
The 60 or no, the 51 and he has a 51 and 54 on either country.
Yeah.
Whether UK or US.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
I've got one of Sting's years ago. They made like a cheap I don't know if it was, maybe it's a Japanese version.
I think it was, made in Japan.
And man, that thing's great. I love that bass. I've recorded a lot with it. I put flat wounds on it and put a better pickup in it. Put a DiMarzio Telly bass pickup in it. And
nice.
Man, that thing it was in the flood and it still works.
Okay.
I just put it in a bag of rice and let it dry out for 6 months. My house was there was bass parts everywhere and it just dried out with bags of rice.
Wow.
And
Wow.
It was awful. It was
I remember I don't know if you know this name or not, but he was a good friend of mine, Sean Scruggs. And I remember after the floods, like Scruggs went down and bought a bunch of, you know, people who were just selling Ampeg cabs and he was an Ampeg aficionado. Like he'd send me pictures of these 810 cabs that, you know, from the bottom 4 speakers were just like, just rotted away, you know?
Yeah. Well, that was me. You know, I had a locker, you know, with my gear in it, and I had all my good stuff on the floor next to the door where I could just walk in, grab it real quick and go. And all my shitty stuff stacked up high. So all that's dry as a bone. All my good stuff is just destroyed.
So, man. Hey, we have 2 questions from Cameron in Australia.
All right.
The first one, I'll put it up on the screen here. First one is, good morning from Australia. What is Lee's first memory of wanting to be a bass player?
I would say definitely seeing Gene Simmons. You know, it's like, holy crap, is this a cartoon or, you know, what's going on here?
On Paul Lynde's Halloween special.
Yeah, it's, you know, something crazy like that. And
first lead bass.
And I think once I just started learning to play it, or when I just feeling the bass, just feeling that low end power of it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that was one of my first memories.
And
along with AC/DC, you know, because man, those are the coolest records. Those early
they still
ones.
are.
Yeah, they still incredible.
And then Cameron, he also asked, wide strap or skinny strap?
Nowadays I use a wide strap only because I have a pacemaker. and they put it right here instead of on my other side.
Oh,
I didn't know they could put it over here until after the surgery.
Oh,
no.
oh, dude.
Yeah, so it's right here. So my strap just goes right across it. So I use these big Moody fluffy straps. And
Yeah.
they're great. The Moody thing, I love those straps. They're just great.
Man.
Yeah, so
I can't even imagine.
I know, and that took a while. That was some weird days,
Wow.
Thank God for modern medicine and science.
And I'm sorry to ask this because I remember my dad. He didn't have a pacemaker, but he had a basically it was a monitor. But anyways, like when you're in a live setting, with all the wireless stuff going on, that doesn't interfere with your
and that was a lot of my main questions.
Yeah.
Now, they advance them every year, it seems like, and for me, I needed one because my heart rate was so low and I didn't know it. And it was right during COVID because nobody was doing nothing, and I was working in my shop all the time, and I thought, I just feel kind of run down. So I just went to a GP.
Yeah.
He's doing my vitals, and he's like, you need to go to a cardiologist like today.
Wow.
So I went to Vanderbilt. Next thing I know, they ran a bunch of tests for several weeks, and then I got a pacemaker. And so the only thing I have to be aware of is magnets, really.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and going through the right security thing.
Yeah.
At airports and the wands and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's, because I said, man, I'm a musician. I'm around loud, compressive sounds. And
yeah,
like, no, you'll be fine. That's, that's
wow.
No bother. So,
and because your heart rate was so low.
Yeah. It was the day of my surgery. I think it was like 32 beats per minute or something.
Wow.
I know bass players are laid back, but that's a little tough.
That's like like I want to say like a runner's heart. Runner's resting heart rate is like around 60.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And all my life, whenever I would go to doctor, they'd ask me, say, "Are you a runner?" I'm like, "Hell no, I smoke and everything else. I don't run." And
man,
of course I don't smoke. It's been a long time since I smoked now.
Sure. Wow.
But that, and it's a family history thing.
Yeah. So. Crazy. And of course they put it on your strap shoulder.
Yeah, put it right here. Thanks, Doc.
Hey, something I want to talk about too. When you're not touring, because this is, I own a couple of these, and I've given them as gifts. Let's talk about 11 Metals.
All right.
So, in your spare time, you do these beautiful boards,
right?
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'll put the link up on the screen here. But like, man, these
Epoxy
things are
resin.
Yeah.
Wood.
I mean, I don't know if you can see through it through the camera, but like the epoxy resin.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I ordered a couple of boards as Christmas gifts this year, and I wasn't expecting this, Lee. I absolutely wasn't expecting this, and of course, you put my family name on there and whatnot. And I pulled it out of the box and I looked at Rachel. I was like, wow, this is beautiful. I might use this as a pedal board.
Oh, that's cool.
And she was like, hell no, you are not using that as a pedal board. So the one we got from you a couple of years ago is our charcuterie board that's up in the kitchen, and then this sits on the kitchen counter. But
nice.
I mean, so what got you into this?
COVID.
Okay.
I was, we weren't touring. Nobody was doing anything. And I've always kind of messed around with welding, and I used to make tables using reclaimed lumber, for tiles, real industrial looking stuff.
Yeah.
And then I kept seeing these river epoxy tables coming up. And I was like, man, I want to learn how to do that. So it's like, well, I've got time.
Yeah.
So I just got some epoxy and started making little coasters and whatnots and just learning about it. And then just expanded out and still learning about it every day. I mean, it's just,
Sure.
But it's full on now. I mean, it's actually, I started with a little Instagram thing.
Yeah.
And started selling through there. And here lately, I've gotten into a place here in West Virginia. It's called Tamarack. And it's like an arts center for West Virginia artisans. And I had to go through this whole process of being accepted, filling out applications, sending pictures. And then I had to take my stuff there and do a blind jury test.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I made it through all that. And now I'm a vendor there. And so they just order directly from me and I send them products
that's awesome. I'm sure you ask this all the time, and Cameron's asking too, like, do you ever think about moving this into making base bodies? Or
I've thought about it. I've followed a couple guys who do it, and they're super heavy because the epoxy is really heavy. And I don't know, maybe one of these days I'll do one, but it's a lot of work, and I don't know if I want to get into being a luthier, so maybe I could, I have some buddies in Nashville who are really good luthiers, and I could maybe make a body and send them a body. So maybe one of these days. But for now, I'm just sticking to my cutting boards. Although now I'm going to start making tables.
Cool.
We'll make a dining room table. I'm going to make one for myself. And I've made coffee tables, but I want to get into bigger things now.
I'm actually looking for the picture because I got a couple of your guitar hangers too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I know I had posted on my social. I can't find the pictures, but can I show your Instagram page or some of the other work that you do on there?
Please do.
Because it really is it's something to check out, man. And
thanks. I love doing it. I really do. It's it's hard work. It's not easy, but I think that's the part I like about it. I love a good challenge.
Great.
Yeah.
Like here's some of the coasters and cutting boards.
Right. Wall pieces.
Yeah. I mean, awesome. It's just, it's beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, they make awesome gifts. Like I'm just going to scroll down here.
Go back there a little bit, Dino.
Yeah.
You were speaking of pedal boards. There you go.
Oh yeah.
I made one time for a pedal board.
Nice. See, I'm not out of my mind when I was saying pedal board. And it's actually, I mean, it's almost the same color epoxy, right?
Yeah.
The turquoise.
Mm-hmm.
But and it's funny because when we have another friend, Aiden Bubeck.
Oh yeah.
Like every time Aiden posts these like pedal boards made of just like scrap wood that he finds around the garage and wires up, and it's the coolest thing. It's like, man, you have a custom size pedal board to whatever your needs are, So
it's funny. I sent him a board because I kept seeing those just wooden boards he's using, and I think he uses it as a cutting board also instead of because I've never seen it on a post. So.
Oh man, I'm afraid to use it as a cutting board. It's too nice. I don't want to get it dirty. Then again, here I am talking about using it as a pedal board.
I've had a lot of people say that.
Right? Yeah. Well, the bigger one that I have, we use as a charcuterie board, because it's got the handles and yeah. And every time we put it out, people are like, "Where'd you get that?" It's my buddy Lee does these. So yeah, man.
I'm gonna have to get some of those for the studio. Those are great.
Yeah. It's very, very, very unique and very cool. So be sure to check it out. I'll leave the link up there too. But
all right, great. Yeah, thank you. I enjoy doing it. It's been a lot of fun, and and this year was really busy for me. So I turned into the coaster man around Christmas time. I had 2 or 3 places that wanted like 100 coasters.
Oh wow, that's crazy. That's
awesome. One man assembly line going.
Yeah. Now, how long does it from start to finish? How just for a board like this? How long are you basically talking to make?
Around 5 to 6 days. The slow part is the curing of the epoxy.
Right.
Because it takes 3 to 4 days to cure before you can take it out of the mold and start sanding and planing and cutting down to size. And, so that's the slow part, just the waiting around on it, and the temperature's got to be right in the room, and it's got to be dust free, and there's just so many elements to it and variables. And so I actually last week in my warehouse space, there was a leak in the roof in my epoxy room. So I had to move stuff out, and I've been doing pours in my bedroom upstairs. so I've been doing that, and then I'll take them back to the shop and work on them, but doing the epoxy here.
Oh, man. Now, my daughter does these masks that, she has the mold and she and that, I'll just say, the stuff stinks to high heaven, because I'm assuming this is
it's low. I can't think what they call it. It's like a low smell. That
okay. All right.
Is that what? Yes, her stuff epoxy. Is that what she's doing?
Yeah, it's what they like. She'll make something out of clay, and then she makes the mold out of that, and then she fills the mold with this like rubber latex. She makes latex masks, and she's big into cosplay and stuff like that.
Right.
But when she does it, it's like she's literally in she'll be in the room next to my office here, and I'll be like, I gotta go upstairs. I'm getting high as a kite. Just smell it. Like, open a window, for crying out loud.
This explains a lot.
Don't open the window. But so when you said you were pouring this in your bedroom, I'm thinking, oh man.
No, it doesn't. I mean, there's just a slight odor, but it's not strong at all. So.
Okay. Man. It's everybody. In fact, we were talking about this at NAMM show about, doing a series of talking to artists about like what their side passion is, or, if they have like a side hustle or something that they do on the side. Cause, let's face it, music is a huge part of all of our lives, but we also live other lives too that we want to. So,
it's interesting because I think Shea was saying like you probably grow up as music; it's your hobby and your love, and then once you make it a professional thing, you kind of need something to counteract.
Right.
That hobby.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. That's cool. That's cool. Man, we are almost out of time here. I know we said I know we usually go about an hour.
Okay.
But I do have all right. We answered Cameron's question here about the make bases from reclaimed timber. Or did we? Yeah. Right? Did we answer? Okay. Yeah, about making bases.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay. I have a surprise though. And it's just so at the end of every episode, we do like a quick 10, 12 questions that we kind of just fly out there and just whatever first comes to mind.
Okay.
It's pretty. Great answer. And of course, I can never find these. Hold on.
Just say, I feel like if it's 10 or 12 of them, we should have them memorized by now.
I probably could pull them off the top of my head, but I'm not that good. Oh no. Hold on.
Dom, are you still in West Virginia?
I'm in Los Angeles. I moved out here about 2009.
Okay.
But yeah, had to get back there quite often. I grew up right outside of Wheeling, West Virginia, on the Ohio side.
Okay.
Yeah, but very familiar with all that area and Charleston, and yeah.
Well, call me up if you come into town sometime or something.
Yeah, I'm typically there around Christmas time every year, sometimes in the summer too. But yeah, appreciate that.
It's beautiful here. I mean, not right now. Everything's brown and dead.
Yeah.
For some reason, I can't
all the
find
state
these.
parks and stuff. This picture back here is Babcock State Park. And
okay, yeah.
It's
absolutely gorgeous.
There's really pretty stuff around here.
Yeah.
When did you move back to West Virginia, Lee? You were in Nashville for a while, obviously, right?
Yeah, just last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dom, I can't find in my notes here.
You can do this. I remember these.
Do you remember them?
At least like 5 of them.
I know I'm gonna remember it. I think. All right, yeah. I'm gonna have to rewrite these because I can't.
Right, let's see if I can remember them. Dino, jump in when you see fit. You ready?
All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
SVT or B15?
Ooh. B15 for recording.
Nice.
SVT for live.
Okay, that's a great answer. Pedals or no pedals?
Pedals.
Wireless or wired?
Oh, wire, please. But I don't get that luxury anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say too big time.
But man, when you plug into a wire, it's just that's the sound. It's just
All
right.
In-ears or wireless? Or I'm sorry, in-ears or wedges?
Oh, that's tough. I kind of go back and forth. I've used in-ears so long now that I'm used to that. But when you do play on wedges, I think you play more as a band on wedges.
Agreed. Yeah.
You feel what's going on around you more. In-ears, you can totally cut somebody out of your mix if you don't want to hear it. So
yeah, true. Or the bass is all up here and everything else.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Jazz bass or P bass?
P bass.
P bass. Okay.
P bass. Okay.
Classic black and white piping as like the CL or anniversary blue and silver.
Anniversary blue and silver.
Nice.
Okay.
Dino, running out of I got like 6.
You got 6. Okay. So flats or round wounds.
There you
go. I go back and it depends on the song. Can that be an answer?
Sure.
Okay.
I love the thud of flats, because I've been getting back into upright the past few years. And,
okay.
But I like the aggressiveness of rounds too,
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to use distortion or something, you can really make it chime a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I go back. It depends for me. It depends on the song. So
okay. All right.
Leads into
picker fingers.
Same answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on the strings too.
Depends on the strings. Yeah. And the song. So.
Okay.
That's 8. I don't remember anymore.
High bunk or low bunk.
Low bunk.
which is going to answer this next question: window or aisle?
Window.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah.
I can't stay awake on planes. I just get so bored, and so I love the window. Just
just crash out
against the window. But then you usually wreck your neck. So.
I like low bunk because it's easy access to the bathroom, and aisle because it's easy access to the bathroom. What was okay?
There's one more. Dino. It's the prize.
There's a couple more.
Really?
Yeah, coffee, tea, or hot chocolate.
Right,
coffee.
Yeah.
And then Cameron is actually reminding us, because we had this conversation with Shea a couple of weeks ago. Favorite sound checking riff?
Oh. Huh. Could probably be a King's X song.
Okay.
Especially for some distortion kind of sound.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Dog Man or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
I love King's X.
There you go.
To me, that's the greatest 3-piece band ever.
Man. Yeah.
Pretty great one.
They're incredible.
Oh man. And Doug is just that soulful voice and playing.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I've seen him play 20 times, I bet.
Man. And then the big the finale, the big kahuna. What's your favorite place, or where's your favorite place to eat when on the road?
On the road?
Yeah.
Like
when you're going on the road and oh man, I'm going to be in Phoenix. I got to go to
Right. Well, for me now that I don't live in Nashville, there's a sushi place in Nashville that I love. So kind of on the road, but it's called I Love Sushi. So
that's awesome.
It's an incredible place.
In Nashville.
Yeah, in Nashville.
Okay.
But I would say on the road, maybe rock and roll sushi in LA is pretty fun. That's always a good time.
Okay.
All the sushi places, and there's another. I can't remember the one on Sunset. It's kind of Rainbow Room and all that stuff. And,
yeah.
I don't even know if it's there anymore. But
right across from Rainbow.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, that little place there.
Okay.
I love sushi, and I love a good steak too. So
yep.
Any good steakhouse is fine with me. So.
Okay. Man, of all places, sushi in Nashville.
I know. Landlocked in the middle of the world, but it's great
nowadays.
Sushi.
Yeah. Oh man, I think we got them all. I don't know what happened to that list on it. Like,
all right, we got them now.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, that's all right. I'll rewrite these because maybe that's somebody upstairs saying you need to redo these questions too because they're getting old. So, but man, Lee, I can't thank you enough, man. This has been, like I said, this has been a long time in the running because we've been talking about doing this for a while now, and obviously, we all live separate lives and do different things, but we're so glad to have you on the show here.
Yeah, it's been an honor. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. You're part, as I say to everybody, we're all kind of part of the Ampeg family, and and everybody watching the show that chimes in, and we're talking about actually doing a like a blog version of the show too, or a podcast where we're gonna we'll take the audio or whatever and see if we can get these broadcasts out to podcasts. Dom and I and Aaron are working on that as well.
Congratulations on number 80.
Wow, thank you.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, we kind of, this whole thing started as it was something to do during COVID.
Right.
Well, no, actually this was born. We were going to do these live in Calabasas whenever we would have a product launch, where the three of us would be in the same room talking about a new product, and then COVID happened, and of course, that kind of prompted us to, we got to figure something else out. Like everybody else in this industry, it's like, how can we use the internet to our advantage? And this was born from it. And we figured after COVID, we'll just go back to, and here we are 80 episodes in, and they haven't thrown us out yet. In fact, I think they want us to do more of these now.
That's awesome. That's great.
So, shout out to Bandit Biker, Paul, some other venture users, like some new venture series. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you guys for checking out the new venture stuff, and hope you enjoy it as much as we do. I know, I've been using it. Dom's been using it a lot. It's slowly, people are starting to catch on the lightweight venture stuff that we did, Lee, so it's been about a year now.
Yeah, a year.
Yeah.
Less than, right. Yeah.
Yep. So
there you go.
Yeah, we'll have to connect and get you a venture head and cabinet if you're gigging around town. And I know you're all set up for your live stuff, but yeah. So anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. And I don't have my schedule up because I lost that too.
It's that epoxy next door. It's just
the epoxy is really getting to me right now. So, but yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks here.
All right.
Peace.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.